Hi, my name's Zachary Angela, and I wanted to go over Go embedding into the Go binary, uh, and not every feature of it, but just specific things that I needed that took me a long time to find out, like kind of how to do correctly. I more or less use what Go Echo. uh, One of the first things I wanted to do specifically was to embed template files, Go templates. And this was so that I could still have it all in one binary, but still have all these template files. And so it this embed feature came out in Go 1.1.16, and I mean, I'll link all these into the notes, but you can see the package, the documentation. It basically has all the stuff you would need for it. And then they even link a blog and kind of explaining it as well. Um, yeah, wait. Here, how to use Go Embed, which basically just brings you to this one. He goes over more commands with it. I'm just going to go over what I personally needed. And for whatever reason, I had a lot of trouble either figuring this out on my own or trying to find good resources on it. I also embedded a Vue.js app. Um, so that took me a bit to try and figure out. Anyways, um, so for the templates, when you use this embed, there's different things you can do with it. Just on um, I'm sorry, you can do it as bytes too as well. Um, there's a couple different versions of it, but what we're going to be using is just the FS file system. And you want to make a variable, call it whatever, and then use it as this type. And in order to store the files themselves, you have to make kind of a comment in a sense above it, which go semicolon embed, and then the folder at which you're putting the templates in. You don't necessarily need to do this or, you know, this. But what you do need to know is that it's not necessarily how your project structure is. And this really confused me a bit. This folder directory, in a sense, is where it is in relative to your Go server in your Go binary. So not how this is, but how it is in relativity to, let's say, your main.go file. So if you have, a server file instead of a server folder, um, you would have to set up the structure so that it knows to go out of that folder and go into the templates folder, or you'd have to put the template folder into the server folder. It's not how all your structuring is here, even though when you do go build, it technically should build this all out, and it does bring in the folders, but you just have to remember that this directory call is in relativity to your Go server in your Go binary. It's an extremely important point that I can't emphasize more. So now that you have it in memory, how do you use it to call up the templates? For a reason, this was hard for me to find, but when I finally realized it, it's actually really easy. Instead of doing, must parse, I think it is, or must, uh, you would just do parse fs, the name of that variable, and then you can't just do the directory. You have to do what kind of files they are as well. That part took me a while to figure out for whatever reason. Um, so yeah, that's how you would do that with the template files. It could be like the Go HTML or whatever it is, but yeah. Um, so that would be how you would store the files that are the HTML files inside your template folder, inside your binary that's in relative path of your main Go server file or whatever it is. Hopefully that makes sense. And this is the binary. It's just one single file that you would run. And so when you go to run it, runs your server, and that's how it basically runs because I don't have a whole lot going on here. I didn't actually store anything into this, but another thing you want to do and make sure you're doing when you test this out is create another folder, just a random folder, put the binary in there, and see if it still runs without all the folders. So cd ss and then test API. Again, there you go. You run it, still going good. So now how do you embed an entire Vue.js app or Svelte or React or whatever it is? They all kind of have a different folder structure, so you do have to change that a little bit. Not of the app, but of what you're embedding. So let's move this all down. This isn't needed. So you have, again, the embedded file structure. And then I put it inside front end folder, which it doesn't have to be. And then the name of the Vue package, I just happen to pick test. And then the dist folder, because you want to put all that here, because you don't want to pull in all this node or npm stuff and all the node modules, and that's used for a workflow. That's not used for the actual app, right? So all you really want is the dist folder inside your Vue app, and that pulls in the JS and the HTML file, and that's what you want to serve. Now, in order to do that, you do have to kind of do it directly to that folder structure. Um, the same setup with the Go semicolon embed and then variable. And then for me, I had gotten this online someplace through a lot of time I went to go research it. Um, Basically, I looked through subfolders. Now I'll link the GitHub of this inside the notes as well. But you want to use this fs subfolder. You want to call the variable and then the folder at which it's located. Basically, this is going to look through this folder system in case you have a whole bunch of deep folder React or Vue.js or whatever stuff going on. Even though I think for Vue it's mostly just right here, but in case it's set up a different way, um, this function is nice just to look through that. So now that you have the embedded data saved, you have a function that can kind of read through it and go echo. In the middleware, you want to use this static with config, middleware static config, and you want to call that function, which is the same one that was up here. So that when it does serve a file, it looks through them and then it serves the HTML5 just in case there's some other kind of, you get hacked or something gets done in there somehow. It's only going to serve the HTML5. So you're kind of good in that sense. That's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and this too, the E static. This is kind of how it gets served, and this is where it's looking for it. And that's how you serve the JS and CSS files inside your dist folder. So that when you do serve this HTML, these are connected and are allowed to go through. So that's important as well. And that's really it for serving that. So that when you do go to run the binary, I have it on a different URL. I think it's just or slash. So there's your view whatever application, your spa app, and yeah, that's how you do that. It took me a very long time yesterday to figure out the exact syntax and that I needed a special function, how to set up an echo a certain way, and all that stuff. But it works, and you can build into these folders or do whatever you want, and it'll still know to look there for them. Um, I mean, Go made this a lot easier. Echo made this a lot easier. Um, because that parse FS is really nice, because then it parses it like your template folder. So it was a nice built-in thing from Go. So yeah, and then I had also found this other resource that Leo had created, and it really runs down the different kind of commands you can do. I didn't use them, but it really, if you wanted to go further with it or whatever, instead of necessarily reading maybe boring documentation, he kind of jumps through a lot of extra things you can do. So that was, it helped along the research and everything. Um, because the one thing you have to remember you cannot do is simply do a file server and then, you know, do this. Is it, must. Like that ain't gonna work. Not only because it takes in a different kind of data type, but you can't just take an embedded file system and then just turn in. It doesn't just know to use that as a type into the templates. So it has to be that function with that kind of setup. I mean, you can change this or the folder, but you know what I mean. So that's how you do that, and yeah, that took me a while, and I just thought I'd spread the resources and how you can pretty much make your server, whatever it is, or Spot app or whatever, and just make it so that they can just download a single binary and run that little binary, and it'll just work, and you don't have to worry about nothing. Um, Surprisingly, it worked really well in Windows too. I didn't have to change anything. I mean, I had to do Go build whatever it is for Windows, but I didn't have to change any of my code or anything, which was really nice. Um, you do have to run this command though when you want to run the Linux one. I think you just need X, but yeah, that's about it, I think. Hopefully, I didn't make that too confusing for anyone. But why would you want it all to be in one binary? So that you can uh, post it in some cheap and easy. Um, all you have to do is move this little file around, and that's all your stuff. That's your entire app. It runs really nice and quick because it's all computer code, and you know that's it. You don't have to necessarily worry about oh, this is my build stuff okay? What folders? How am I going to have it tell it to run certain things? Um, No, you just grab that little file, put it up on your Droplet or Google App Engine or whatever it is, and just run it, and that's it. Plus, your friends can take the one little binary. If it's on Windows, they double click it, and then it runs your whole server. So you don't have to like send them a bunch of stuff in order for them to get the idea of what's going on. Or you could, I don't know if there's like something out there with buckets that you can run a single file and have it be everything. You know, or if you wanted this app to create a Go file that then runs that turns on and off this binary based off of some resources that you tell it or whatever, you can do that too. So it's just one command for one file, and that's it. Um, yeah, that's basically all I wanted to kind of go over a little bit. I just think it's neat that you can take all this, all this stuff here, and just, well, almost all of it, at least the parts that you need, and throw it into one little file, and anyone can run it anywhere on any system, and that's all you need. It's pretty slick. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.